First tonight, Botswana. You may not know this, but it is arguably Africa's most stable country and the continent's longest continuous democracy, a small southern African nation called Botswana. It's sparsely populated with a population of just around 2 million people, just about 2.6 million in fact, is relatively free of corruption and has a good human rights record. It's the world's largest producer of diamonds, and the trade, along with its safari-based tourism industry, has transformed Botswana into the country with one of the highest GDPs per capita in Africa and is ranked as one of the fastest growing economies in the world with the best human development index, and on average the country with the continent's highest standard of living, an oasis of calm in a raging sea of political unrest and economic mismanagement. And recently, the country was crowned in further glory after the sprinter Letsile Tebogo became the first African athlete to win the men's 200-meter race at the Olympics, bringing home Botswana's first ever gold as well as a silver medal in the 4x400 relay. By comparison, Nigeria, which has a population 120 times bigger than Botswana, did not bring home a single medal. Well, for more on what makes Botswana tick, I'm joined now in the studio by the High Commissioner of Botswana to Nigeria, Philda, Nani, Kereng. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome to Nigeria. I mean, you haven't been here that long, have you?
I haven't been here that long. It's almost 3 weeks. It has been a wonderful 3 weeks. Learned a lot, loved a lot.
If you say so, then we shall concede to you that you've had a wonderful 3 weeks, but you've obviously met the president and all the rest of it. So you're well into your sort of time here now.
Now I'm starting to run. It's about running.
Right, okay, yeah, you're about to start running. Well, we'll get to that running bit. But, I mean, we saw that stadium spectacular with which Botswana, well, we didn't see that, but we saw the guy running. But there was a stadium spectacular with which Botswana welcomed the sprinter Letsile Tebogo home with the country's first ever Olympic gold medal. How seminal a moment was that for Botswana?
I'm still to recover from that, and excuse me if I'm sounding too excited. For us in Botswana, we celebrate every achievement together as a nation. Because coming from where we have been, starting afresh and doing everything ourselves as a nation, every little achievement means a lot. And at the moment, celebrations like this win, this victory.
I mean, we're seeing it on the screen now. That was the celebration in Botswana.
It has been one of the most uniting events, because as a nation we always want to use every opportunity to come together. Remember that we are one people, even with the differences that we have. It has been quite reviving. It has actually been inspiring for us to believe in ourselves that even the things we never thought we could win and lead in, we can. We are driving a research agenda that says try and do things that you never believed you can do, and put everything to it and you'll win. So this is just to celebrate that the research agenda is actually running. People believe and they go out, they try, and they still believe until they win it. So it also shows us, we are resilient, we are persistent, very quietly so. And when we make it, we celebrate together. It's a unifying thing. It has been very, very unifying and thrilling moment to come together, sing one song and dance together and welcome together with our leadership. I mean, it has really been nothing we can describe in unifying a nation.
Well, of course, that people love a winner. So the rest of Africa is also cottoning on to that.
Yes, the whole
and
of
saying
Africa.
Because he's the first African athlete to win the 200-meter race.
It means a lot, not just for us, not just for himself, not just as Botswana, but also for Africa. Because if you read what people were saying, it's all about saying Africa can, and Africa can dominate the sport and actually transform it to an economic, sector that we can use to create employment opportunities, to connect the African continent, and to make it rise together, as different countries. So it's more than just us. We celebrate together with Africa.
So going forward, I mean, what can a country like Nigeria learn from Botswana in terms of improving its Olympic performance? Does it all boil down to funding, or is it also Does it also involve other forms of support for athletes?
All right, I think the first thing that I must say is that we still view Nigeria as a country that has a lot in terms of what we can learn from, in terms of the talent development. And we have seen Nigeria winning a lot of sports, across board. And we still look at that talent as being a latent one that can still be developed. So that's one side of it. But for us, in terms of what they can learn, I think the most important thing is the support that we give people. You can have a talented individual, but when they don't have the support, it doesn't really help. Now, the support comes with motivation from the leadership. It also comes from policies that are directed towards developing that talent so that individuals can see themselves in that roadmap, in that strategic policy to say that, okay, the policy says that we will develop specific support programs for young people in sports. Then you rise up as a young person, you want to take advantage of it. Funding, yes, is very important because, you can't just put a framework without financing it. So it's funding, is the support, is the governance, that people are free and secure to explore their talents, and when they take it out, they are supported and they know they are secure. The pride of a nation. Can we unite for the pride that we can show forth it? This is Botswana. When we say blue, black and white, what does it say to everybody? So when this individual goes out, they want to bring back something, that blue, black and white flag will just fly. So it's more than even funding. It's just this spirit of wanting to propel your own brand as a nation. Then you support each other and one another. But most importantly, setting the governance systems that wants to develop and support our young people and everybody. If it's a poor person, if it's somebody in the rural areas, an inclusive governance system.
That sounds really inspiring, I have to say. And I also learned that, beyond the kind of the broad picture that you're sharing with us, I understand the secret of Botswana's Olympic success was also targeted action, which has clearly brought reward. So it's a good idea to focus on a particular sports discipline rather than trying to get into so many different disciplines. So specialization is a good option to boost performance.
Of course, that is a strategic operational decision that have to be taken. We don't think we can do everything. We don't think we can run any race. So we have been trying and building, our minds towards what works for us. Where do we do better? Where are we best, and so forth. So we can comfortably now say 400 meters, 200 meters, that's why. For the marathons and all these short ones, we are not that bad. So we have managed to say, we have identified Little Taboho. He can do 100, 200, 400. So we are able to focus on that and see how can he best be featured.
And he pulled off 2 medals. I mean, not him alone in the silver, but different races. He added to that.
He added to the 4x4 race to enhance it. But it's about deciding where this person can actually best fit. Where can he bring along others for a victory? So I think some of the things that go around this is wanting to do everything. We don't want to do that. Wanting to do something you are not sure about. We don't. You will rather sacrifice. There was a time he said, I can see that 100 meters, I can try it, but I'm going to focus on 200 meters. So while he won the 200 meters, he was most comfortable in it. But 100 meters, it was the first he really tried. It's recently that he started, but then he can see that he needs to take maybe some time. There was a time he also said, I would consider 100 meters later, but right now I'm here. So trying to focus and not trying to do everything at the same time, it helps to put all the energies, all the strategies. You will find that our team is very, very small because they have decided they will just cut our small piece and do it very well.
Well, congratulations once again.
Thank you so
I mean,
much.
as you
Thank
said,
you, Nigeria,
it's a victory, not just, largely for Botswana, but also we all piggyback off that victory, don't we?
Surely.
I mean, the rest of Africa.
It's for all of us.
But let's talk about the relationship between Botswana and Nigeria. How strong are the ties between the two countries? Because let's face it, most Nigerians know very little about Botswana.
I don't know what would be the indicators of a strong relationship in this case, but I must comfortably say we have had a bilateral, relationship from long time back. I remember that the embassy of Nigeria in Botswana has been there for quite a long time. But I think we have mostly over the years focused on, just the normal kind of relationships where we collaborate on visa. We have not had strong program related, and transformational, ever increasing, opportunities. And that's why I am going to focus on expanding the relationship, having more of projects going underground. We want to see more movement of Nigerians going to Botswana to appreciate whether it's tourism, is business, and so forth. So I must say that we are just saying, from the many years of collaboration that was just minimal and subtle in many ways, we want now to build a relationship where both countries can actually enjoy each other more opportunities. We have come up with strategic areas of collaboration where we believe that the relationship will be much more beneficial and valuable and long term.
Well, let's look into that a bit, because you are the new Botswana High Commissioner to Nigeria. You took over from Pule Mfutwe, who is actually a friend of mine. He sat where you sat before.
Visited him.
Nice bloke he was. Or he is. What's your vision? I know you talked a little bit about the strategic thing that you're trying to develop, but expand on that a bit to tell us how that will take the relationship forward.
All right, building from the fact that my position here in the High Commission of Botswana and Nigeria is basically to promote Botswana's interests in this region and in this country, but also to facilitate collaboration, strategic collaborations, going into government to government, business to business, and entity to entity networking and agreements that can help. One, we have looked at the Nigeria economic sector, social sector, and we found out we are going to build a very strong relationship in the cultural development sector.
Right.
Nigeria very, very strong in cultural, sector in terms of how they celebrate their culture. It's arts. It's music, it's food, and so forth. So we are coming here to learn, and we want to integrate Botswana culture with Nigerian culture. There are certain things that I've realized that they are similar. I didn't know before I came here that there are some Nigerian, cultural groups that use sorghum, that consume sorghum, which is our staple grain. Yeah. And I saw that they also prepare traditional beer from it. They call it, what is it called? I forgot the name, but it's very interesting. We have the same. So we are going to connect culturally. We are also recognizing and very respectful of how the arts film sector has developed in Nigeria. We want to develop that because us in Botswana, we still have a lot to do. So we want to connect in terms of skills development, sharing, of cultural, success stories, and bonding in terms of building each other. We've also identified collaboration opportunities around the agricultural sector. When Botswana talks about beef, we always say Botswana has the best beef in this world. I don't know if Pule.
Well, I haven't eaten Botswana beef.
So this is the time for
I'm
you to
actually
taste
trying to cut back. I'm just kidding. Go.
No, we will get it for you.
Yeah.
So the beef production story of Botswana is the animal husbandry, the governance, the farmer support programs that have spent over years to make sure that we sustain our export of beef to the European market, which we have done for more than 4 decades. So that is it. It's culture. It's also skills development. We want to be able to utilize, the skills, richness of Nigeria to, do skills exchange. We also want to share our governance story, our diamond story as well. How have we, since 1969, after we discovering diamonds, how have we utilized the diamond revenues to develop the other sectors of the economy and take care of our people? We still have free education, we still have free health, we have managed to develop a lot of infrastructure, and we want to share the story to the continent. Governance around mining and minerals.
So clearly Nigeria has a lot to learn, and it's a mutual thing, as you said.
And we are going to be facilitating, exchanges in terms of hosting Nigerians in Botswana, business to business and so forth.
Sounds good. But looking at Botswana, inevitably there are cracks in that seemingly impregnable facade. There are growing calls for democratic reforms, for an end to prolonged one-party rule. The ruling BDP has been in power since independence in 1966, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been. I don't want to go into political analysis of this,
well,
but I know, I can tell you, the political system of Botswana is actually governed by a very sound constitution. How we conduct elections and how parties are formed, and all-party system where we can bring all parties together to negotiate and agree on how to run elections and so forth. What boils at the end of the day is, how do parties prepare themselves, to actually win elections and sustain? If we have a strong opposition, it will come one day and so forth. So the cry is not based on a failure of a particular government, even the government that is, in rule. So we don't want to go there, but I think we have a system that allows any party or anybody who can form a party to compete in the system.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you say you don't want to go there, but obviously if we're trying to give people a correct impression of what Botswana is, we have to look at it from all sides. And it raises questions, though, about the democratic maturity that Botswana appears to have. Because, I mean, you have to wonder whether with one-party rule for 60 years and without a rotation of government for that long, whether Botswana is a mature democracy or whether its democracy has been effectively handcuffed by one part.
No, there's nothing like that, because I've just said to you, we have a very transparent political system. Participation of different parties, different ideologies is allowed in a very, very fair manner. So it's not about the system that pushes others out, brings others in, or gives others power over others. No. The system is allowing everybody to participate. Now, the ruling party might have been in rule for a long time, but we can ask a question: has it been transformational in terms of rebuilding itself, reinvigorating itself, rewiring, resetting? And this is what we can begin to check. Has this party evolved, and attached itself to, emerging needs, changes in the global and the national, landscapes and so forth. And people vote basing on how comfortable they are with what they have. They are the ones who can say, for now, we are still comfortable with this, So, but I hope that, I can comfortably say that all the parties have equal opportunities to compete.
Well, to be fair, beyond that, I mean, Botswana is held up internationally as a country to really be emulated on the continent of Africa. Do you believe that, looking at the way Botswana has utilized its potential and governed as perhaps as well as it possibly could, that Nigeria, comparatively speaking, is not yet awake to its vast potential?
I will just speak about Botswana that I know, and I can say comfortably that when we started after independence, we came up with policies that ensured that our development models will be sustainable. Most importantly, in making sure that we serve our people and we make them part of our development process. When people are part of the development process, there is no way that they will not hold the government accountable. There is no way that the government can continue if they are not served. So when they are part of the government system, it sustains, development programs. Now, with that structure, that takes the national governance to the local authorities, right down to the grassroots, where people feel their space, in the processes. We have been able to make sure that, we change, we transform, but people at the core. We also made sure that we focus on building economies around what people have and give them opportunities to be participant. Let's talk about conservation. Conservation, natural resources for the people. We came up with a policy in the 80s to make sure that people around mineral resources, around wildlife resources, around forestries, there is a specific law and a policy that says do beneficiation that makes sure that these minerals will benefit them. They will go to school, they will get free health, they will get in infrastructure, they will get in clean water and so forth. When they see this, then you can be able to sustain. It's all about how we have sustained the governance of even our forests, our wildlife, and our minerals, agriculture, making sure that we support farmers from the grassroots. Also acknowledging and utilizing the cultural, indigenous knowledge, indigenous practices. So I can say Botswana's people, wherever they are, any level, they are part and parcel of an inclusive government. They can influence decisions. There is a policy that will not pass in parliament because we didn't consult. you know, those are the things that can be emulated. And when we say Botswana governance story, we can even take it to peace and security. We say we can do anything, but if people don't feel free, when they, you know, the rule of law is not working, when they don't feel at peace, they don't feel secure, then there's no point. Even a tourist to come to Botswana, they will be thinking, am I going to survive? So we advance what we have fashioned as the national vision. Right now we are on Vision 2036. It's aligned with the SDGs to say that environmental sustainability, the pillar of social development, we have peace and security. So all development plans that are funded by government, implemented by different ministries, they speak to that vision. At the end of the day, we are going to say, did we achieve our vision? So the people on the ground, rural areas and everywhere, they evaluate this vision before another one is crafted. The national development planning, the budgeting processes, the Minister of Finance can go to communities and say, let us see how best we can do, you know, allocation of resources for particular programs. So that these are structural, you know, governance issues that I think we want to sell to the continent.
Well, it sounds very impressive, I have to say, and it clearly is working, because we can all see the success that Botswana has become.
As long as people are part of it.
Right. And that's a very important point that you make there. I want to thank you very much indeed for coming in and taking the time to share this with us. Philda Nani Kereng is the High Commissioner of Botswana to Nigeria. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for welcoming me, and welcome to Botswana.
Yeah.